Well, let's deliberate on this with political analyst Sandile Swana. Sandile, good evening to you and welcome. Another chaotic day in council. Dr Phalatse trying to fight this legally and failing, losing the motion of no confidence against her. Besides her, who are the real losers here?
Oh, thank you, Iman. I think that the real losers are the residents of Johannesburg. You will remember that the ANC first lost the control of the city in 2016 when Park Stow and his crew were voted out and Herman Mashaba came in. And Herman Mashaba came into a city that was in a shambolic state with long backlogs of services and infrastructure, roads, bridges, and so on and so forth. So the city, and then serious economic decline, by the way, not just financial decline as Morero is talking about. There's a link between the economic decline and the financial decline. So Mashaba was there for 3 years, more or less, from 2016 to 2019. And then after that, he was succeeded by a number of ANC leaders who died unceremoniously in the meantime, Jeff Makhubo, Jody Lee, and others that died suddenly. So there's been instability since Mashaba left under the ANC, and it's been months since November last year until now. It's not a year that this Phalatse was there. So a greater part of the failure of the city of Johannesburg still lies at the door of the African National Congress. And it is the residents themselves who are going to pay the price for all of this.
And that's what makes Morero's statement of conscience there in his opening around let's fall in love with the city again, look to us to reinstitute financial stability and move the debt book in the right direction. When you laid that backdrop, does it hollow out the kind of stand that he made today?
I wondered about this notion, this romantic notion of falling in love again with the city of Johannesburg. And let me say, just point out in passing, this is exactly where I was born, Johannesburg. So I have a certain relationship with the city. But I think when you look at it from this Dada Morero's point of view and the ANC, what we've learned is that they may love this city just the same way that a farmer loves his dairy cow for purposes of milking it.
I was waiting for you to complete the sentence, but I think that was the fullness of what you wanted to say there. But it points directly, let's look away then, just from the changing fortunes of the city to the underlying or foundational factors here. And this goes really to the strength and composition of the coalitions that saw the DA take power, as you just reminded us, after the 2021 local government elections. Share your perspective with us, Sandile, and I suspect it will be a wry perspective on the changing loyalties and alliances that are embedded in the concept of coalition politics.
There is the changing loyalties are a big problem. I wouldn't want to talk about loyalties here. I would also talk about opportunism. For instance, right now, if you listen to Morero, he says that this has been an opportunity to get rid of a right-wing government. Basically, the Phalatse's government was, in Morero's view, a right-wing government. And that issue of a right-wing government will come up in saying what is the role of, how willing is the DA to share power and to share power with the other parties. And parties like the IFP, which is largely a black party, has got a ward in the, I think 2 wards actually, in the city. And so on and so forth. So there is a well-grounded credibility. And when you look at parties like Action SA, who come out of the DA, they've got it's the 3rd largest party there. So people like the PA, who are a decisive factor in this, also have got wards, by the way, in the city of Johannesburg, something that the EFF does not even have. So they use this little power that they have to leverage opportunities. And Gayton Mackenzie, I go along with the view that Gayton Mackenzie is very explicit that he wants power and resources and money and things and jobs for his people. So loyalty is not even a consideration for people like Gayton Mackenzie. And the ANC is able to play that game of people who are viable in a way, who they know how to put sweeteners where sweeteners are needed.
I mean, I wanted to talk to you about, the opportunity for coalitions in South Africa to kind of take us to a place of, higher functioning, bringing diversity of views and so on. But multi-party coalitions seem to be as stable as the dunes of the Sahara in South Africa. How do you, share with us how you see coalition politics maturing in South Africa?
Yeah, I think, man, the question here is the maturity of the coalitions. Coalitions in themselves are not a problem. But the coalitions are emerging in South Africa in a terrible history. For instance, if you looked at the newspapers today, you will see that the Hawks have arrested people in the Gqeberha area and are charging people who were involved in the overthrow of the previous DA mayor there. And then they were paying bribes and receiving bribes in order to overthrow a coalition. Then we cannot pay bribes in order to overthrow a coalition and then say coalitions are unstable at the same time. In the Johannesburg case, Herman Mashaba has come out very strongly to say there are clear indications that there are certain people who have received money, who have been ethically compromised with money in order to overthrow the DA-led coalition out of this. That is not to say that the DA did not make mistakes. I think there are mistakes that the DA, political mistakes that they've made, the mistakes of trying to play a big brother to the coalition partners and not paying attention to the credentials of the IFP and offering the position of speaker to the IFP and bullying the other smaller parties that are in partnership. The DA does not have a majority. The ANC does not have a majority by far. So coalitions are a thing that is coming, is our future, but we need to eliminate the immorality and criminality that we use to undermine coalitions. Given, how short a time the perfume of success lasts, I want to talk about the incumbent Dada Morero now, and his ascension marking the return of the ANC's control of the metro. I wanted to ask you if this is a sign of things to come for the ANC clawing back control ahead of 2024, despite the fact that the terrain is constantly moving. Well, the DA knows where they are, that there are political mistakes on the political chessboard that they didn't play correctly. So that played into the hands of the ANC. But the ANC knows very well that this is a temporary victory because there are other underlying problems that all of us know that there was a good reason why the people of Johannesburg voted Pakstow and his crew out of Johannesburg. And it has been, from there, it has been patchwork after patchwork and instability, complete instability. This is probably the fourth ANC mayor since 2019 coming into Johannesburg in a very short space of time. So I don't see a lot of going back. We can see that the opposition parties have to mature in certain areas and get out of the mendacity and duplicity that has seen them betraying each other for better opportunities and for bribes and other things like that.
Sandile, always lovely to talk to you. Thank you very much for sharing your perspective on the developments of today. Political analyst Sandile Swana there.